Welcome everyone to the Queen of TV channel. Now, before we get into our intro, I got three things to let you guys know. One, please watch the video to the end. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Second, there will be cursing and profanity. If that is not your cup of tea, this channel is not for you. Third, my bad. I will be giving my honest opinion and my honest thoughts about the show as a whole. Now, our intro. Hello, everyone. I am your host, the Queen herself, and you are the Prince and Princesses because you are either a subscriber or you are a viewer. Either way, welcome. Today, we'll be talking about H2O Season 1, Episode 6, Young Love. We start this episode off with meeting Emma, Rikki, Elliot, Lenny, and Lewis at a greenhouse. Lenny is Lewis's second older brother out of 5 boys. Emma, Rikki, and Elliot are helping them move everything into the greenhouse. Lewis has created a automatic sprinkling machine for his older brother. Elliot thinks the place is amazing. He talks about how it's a wonderland, how you can be stuck down there forever. Rikki makes a comment that maybe he should, and when he wanders off, she's able to drag him back with the rest of the group. They leave when Lewis mentions that the sprinklers come on at 5 o'clock every 30 seconds. Obviously, this freaks Emma out, so they go ahead and go. Emma, Rikki, and Elliot end up on the beach. Emma had forgotten that she had promised Byron to help with the beach cleanup, but she also has to babysit Elliot, promising her parents that she'd watch him and make sure he doesn't get into the water. She leaves Elliot with Rikki, but Rikki is protesting that she doesn't want to, but Emma doesn't listen and forces her to anyway. Well, Elliot wants to show off and show Emma how cool he is by showing her that he can surf. He goes out to the water after she tells him multiple times not to and ends up forgetting to wear his leg rope, which causing him to drown. Rikki looks around and notices that no one else can hear Elliot or just doesn't care. She goes into the water and she rescues him. She's able to get him to shore before he can actually see her as a mermaid. Once Elliot wakes up, he's confronted by Zane and Nate, who asks Elliot what had happened to him. Elliot is looking around for Rikki but cannot find her. Once Emma and Elliot get home, Elliot tells his parents about how Rikki saved his life. Emma is taken aback because Rikki didn't tell her anything that bad happened. Let alone, no one told Emma anything. This is the first time she's hearing it. Well, she won't have to wait long to get some answers because she did ask Rikki and Cleo to come over. We know this because Rikki shows up at her house and she is confronted with Emma's parents and her brother Elliot, who are congratulating and thanking her for saving Elliot's life. Rikki is uncomfortable with the encounter, and Emma grabs Rikki and takes her upstairs into her bedroom. She confronts Rikki about what happened. Rikki tries to make a joke about the fact that Elliot saw her as a mermaid, or, she showed off some skin, I'm guessing, because she had told Emma she had flashed him. Well, she's just joking around. Emma doesn't think it's funny, but Rikki says to Emma that I was very careful. Cleo ends up showing up as well. While they're talking about the situation, Rikki accidentally knocks over a glass of water, causing her to waste it all over their school project that Emma was working on. Rikki says that they only got that homework yesterday when Emma cries out that she was almost done with it. Rikki tries using her powers but ends up burning the paper instead. So Cleo tries to help as well, but only making it worse. Cleo points out that they are still learning how to use their powers. Emma says, well, they need to hurry up and get better fast. This is when Elliot walks in because he has a gift for Rikki. He has a card and some flowers to give to her to show his gratitude. Well, Rikki feels a bit uncomfortable about it, but accepts the gift. Emma and Cleo can tell that Elliot has a crush when Rikki is talking to them about the whole thing. Emma tries to get Rikki to understand that she needs to let Elliot down gently. Now, Elliot and Kim are the same age. They're both 11 years old. I had mistakenly thought that Elliot was 10 this entire time, but it turns out he's the age of 11. Rikki makes a judgmental comment that families like Emma's always have this perfect outlook on life and don't really know how to handle real life problems. Emma does talk to Elliot and try to get him to understand that Rikki might not be his type of woman. Elliot does not listen to her and says that him being with Rikki will not get in the way of their friendship. We later cut to a scene where the girls go to the Juice Net Cafe owned by the owner, Wilford, who gives Rikki a box of chocolates, saying that it came from Elliot, who claims that Rikki is his girlfriend. Elliot is sitting by Rikki at this point because he had given her a card. Rikki rightfully freaks out and takes Emma and Cleo to where Lewis is to get some boy advice on how to break up with Elliot. Lewis tells them two things, plain and simple. A guy likes to know where he stands, but he also doesn't like to be rejected. More on that in my review. Rikki does not like the answers that Lewis gives and gets upset, telling him who asked him anyway. She walks off and leaves. She runs into Elliot again while she's on the beach, and Elliot gives her a glass dolphin. He's trying to make moves on her again, and Rikki ends up snapping on him. She insults him, making him feel very upset, and he throws the glass dolphin into the sea. Elliot goes home not wanting to talk to anyone, and we know this because Emma tells this to Cleo, and now Elliot has gone missing. They tell this to Rikki, who is wondering if he ran off because of what she said to him. When the girls try to find him, they can't. Rikki ends up fessing up to what happened and said she insulted Elliot, even telling them the insults that she said. Emma is upset at her and says that if anything happens to her brother, it is Rikki's fault. Lewis shows up in the nick of time. Obviously, Rikki already feels bad. Lewis can guess that Rikki took the third route and instead decided to hurt Elliot and break his spirit. Well, Rikki asks him a good question. If someone broke your heart, where would you want to go? Lewis says someplace where no one can find me. She realizes that this is what Elliot had said when he was inside of Lenny's greenhouse. So she decides that's where he has to be. She leaves. Lewis, under his breath, is saying that it would have been nice if she said a thank you. Well, Rikki was right. There's where Elliot is. He's telling her to leave him alone. Rikki decided to sit next to him and have a heart-to-heart where she actually explains why she reacted the way she did with Elliot. Rikki comes from a childhood that resulted in a lot of people bullying her and mistreating her. So when Elliot was being nice and showing romantic affection, she didn't know how to react, and it made her uncomfortable because it wasn't something that she was actually used to. This heart-to-heart eventually leads to Elliot forgiving Rikki, and before they have a chance to leave, Lewis's brother Lenny actually leaves the greenhouse and locks it before going home because it is now 5 o'clock. They are both trapped. All of a sudden, the sprinkler system comes on that Lewis installed, and Rikki remembers that they have only 30 seconds to get out of the way. Now, Rikki is preventing herself from getting wet because she'll turn into a mermaid, and she doesn't want to reveal the secret to Elliot. Elliot apparently has forgotten the previous episode about them possibly being mermaids, because he doesn't understand why it's such a big deal for them to get wet. Rikki must have called Emma and Cleo before she got to the greenhouse, because they do show up. They have to think of something quick, otherwise Rikki is in big trouble. Cleo uses a bucket of water and they distract Elliot so Emma can use her powers. They're able to break the automatic system and get Rikki and Elliot out in the nick of time. Lewis apparently is upset because he had told Lenny that this system was unbreakable. Emma thought that Lewis had trapped him in there, but Lewis had corrected her by saying that this is an automatic lock system. It locks down at a specific time. He said that he will make up some type of story to his brother and fix it anyway. Emma is just glad that Elliot is safe, and Elliot promises to not be so obsessive next time. He does try to hold Rikki's hand again to kind of push his luck, but she stops him and tells him not to even try it. The episode ends with Rikki finding the glass dolphin and swimming away with it with a big smile on her face. So my review on the situation. So let me talk about the Rikki and Elliot situation first. Like I mentioned in the other previous times that I have done a review on this, Elliot was believed by some fans to be showing signs of him being a sexual assault abuser. I have disagreed with that. The reason I have disagreed with that is because of his age and to do with the fact of the nature of the situation. He wasn't technically trying to force himself onto Rikki. Rikki never actually told Elliot no. And considering this is the first time he's ever liked a girl, he doesn't know the signs that a girl is not interested. Rikki obviously, yes, is uncomfortable, but she does accept his gifts, and to him, she's not showing signs of resistance. Rikki did not want to approach Elliot in a negative way. This is the reason why she did not say no. She just felt weirded out about it. It wasn't uncomfortable in a way where she felt that she was peer pressured into anything. What made Rikki feel uncomfortable is that she was not used to anybody liking her, and she had to make that clear to Elliot in the heart-to-heart conversation that they had. Elliot, despite his background, could still possibly be this type of person, but there's no proof in that actually happening. So we have to just assume that there's no way that Elliot became that kind of person. And some people just don't outright become a sexual assaulter because of them liking some girl and becoming very obsessed with her. Women and men are not like that. There has to be some form of trauma and egotistical, narcissistic, sickening mental thoughts that a person has to have for them to want to attack someone in a sexual manner that would be to harm another individual. So, no, what we're seeing is not that cut and dry. I can understand why people are seeing that, and it might be boiled down to what Lewis had said when giving advice on how to gently break Elliot's heart. So we're going to talk about those two things now. One, when Lewis had mentioned that a guy likes to know where he stands, I would like to point out that this advice he's giving actually works for women and men. both of the suggestions that he gave work for men and women. One, when you actually explain to someone you don't have feelings for them, yes, it hurts, but at least they know where they stand. But then that brings us to the next thing that he brings up. Women and men do not like to be rejected. Now, this is where people might believe that Elliot is a person capable of sexual assault. There has been people who have rejected people that were sexually assaulted by the very person they rejected. We see this kind of behavior from another character in season 2. There is no sexual assault involved, but this person is very manipulative. They, just like Elliot, was given the answer no. The difference between this person and Elliot is that they were told no as a way of saying we're just friends, while Elliot was not being told no. Rikki was avoiding saying the word no. So, two different situations, but the same message at the same time. Even if you do tell somebody no and you reject them, it does not necessarily mean that that person will take into account what you were saying. They still might pursue you and become very obsessive. This is not the fault of the person that's saying no. Of course, Emma is wrong for being upset with Rikki. But where Emma is wrong at being upset with Rikki is that Emma expected Rikki to not be so harsh about it. Yes, Rikki should have been less cruel about it because she did insult him. But telling him no wasn't the wrong way. It's just the way she had said it was wrong. Emma does have some fault of this as well. Though Emma did try to get him to understand that Rikki is not interested in him, she didn't just outright say it, trying to only sugarcoat it as a way of saying that maybe he could do better than dating someone like Rikki, because she's just not that type of girl. And on top of that, Elliot is very young, so you can't expect him to understand fully. You got to take his age into account, and especially that his experience with girls, because as far as we know, Rikki is the only girl he's ever had a crush on. Now, Emma should have not abandoned Elliot with Rikki just to go help out Byron, but she did already give him her promise. And she trusted Rikki with him. Where I think Emma is upset is that Rikki would actually say the things that she said to Elliot. And bear in mind you, this is her young brother. So obviously, she is not going to see it from Rikki's point of view. Her family is not like this. So she, in a way, is defending her brother's honor. Rikki does feel bad about it, and I'm glad that Rikki had this heart-to-heart with Elliot. Because if I'm being honest, Rikki was kind of mean to Elliot since the beginning of this episode, when he has been nice to her since day one. Luckily for her, Elliot was unfazed until she mentioned all the things that she thought of him. But other than that, that's all I have on that situation. Again, we have two characters that we are not completely focused on, and that's Cleo and Lewis. They're in here, well, in the episode, but they're not the main focus. They're just there when they need to be. Emma has a small role in this where she's in it enough to where she's also important because she played a part into this relationship between Elliot and Rikki. But other than that, it is mostly about Rikki and what was really going on with her, to give us an insight into what her childhood was like and how she approaches everything when it comes to anything doing with romance, kindness, or just overall affection. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a blessed day and a wonderful day. If no one has told you this today, I'm telling you, I love you. I'll see you guys in the next one. But you already know we will be back again. So until then, bye guys.